Hello, I'm Will, and this is Mike with the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And in this video we'll be looking through issue 33 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine, which came with a Knight-Judicator and 2 Gryph Hounds for the Stormcast Eternals. We'll be looking through the magazine, looking at his rules, and then seeing what he can do in our game as the Stormcast attempt to assassinate some destruction heroes. So some lore first in the issue on the Blades of Khorne. These are the mortal followers of the Chaos God Khorne, and just like their patron and his demons, they are bloodthirsty and care only really for combat, skull-taking and general bloodshed. They're also often supported by Khorne's demonic legions, and fight as a sort of amalgamated horde of bloodthirsty warriors. They believe magic to be cowardly, and so they don't have any spellcasters in their ranks, but they do often have priests of Khorne who bring down his wrath upon the opponent, and they tend to collect skulls, offering them up to the Blood God in exchange for his patronage. Now some background on the Carrion Empire, which details an event where a Skaven warlock bombardier Skachnik, as you can see at the bottom there, came to the realm of metal searching for the lost empire of Metallurgica, supposedly filled with treasures and strange artifacts, but actually found it to be full of flesh-eaters, these twisted cannibalistic ghoul-like creatures, so precipitating a very bloody conflict. There's some models from both ranges here, including a large warp lightning cannon of the Skaven, which was used to gain entry to the caverns he was looking for, and there was a great deal of savage fighting. Now the battle record for the Knight-Judicator. These heroes are armed with gigantic terminus greatbows, and they function almost as artillery pieces on the battlefield, launching lightning-wreathed arrows into the enemy's ranks. They're often also accompanied by Gryph Hound companions that guard them and warn them of danger. So as usual, there's tables to roll on. This one is for the name of one of the Gryph Hounds, and over the page one for the other one. And as usual, you can record some deeds and names. And then the build guide for them. It's a single pose model. The only option you have is choice of head for the Knight-Judicator. Goes together fairly easily. As usual, be careful clipping certain parts off the sprue. And the 2 Gryph Hounds are a few pieces. These are all pushed together models as well, so you won't technically need glue if you don't want to. And then the painting guide is just another Stormcast model, so it'll be the same as we've seen before. And then again for the Gryph Hounds, these ones it suggests painting orange. You might just want to paint them in a slightly different scheme to your other ones, just so it's obvious that these ones go with the Knight-Judicator. And also painting the rubble on his base. And there you have it. There is the finished models up to this point. And this issue also comes with a fold-out insert, this one on the domains of the Dark Gods of Chaos. So we've learned about the Realm of Chaos before, the sort of nightmare hell dimension where the forces of chaos reside. It doesn't really follow any physical laws, but different bits of it are claimed by the different chaos gods. So the domain of Khorne is a sort of seemingly endless battlefield, a place full of constant conflict, with a giant brass citadel towering over the landscape where Khorne himself broods. Domain of Tzeentch is sort of utterly baffling, incomprehensible, a twisted maze, constantly shifting, virtually impossible to navigate, in the centre of which is the impossible fortress where he hatches his plots. The domain of Nurgle is a sort of disgusting garden full of all sorts of rotting life and plagues and diseases, where Nurgle's servants cultivate new infections and maladies. And the domain of Slaanesh are the 6 circles of seduction, as it's called, dedicated to a different kind of mortal desire, and where endless temptation and torment are to be found. And on the other side, some of their domains in the mortal realms. So Khorne has transformed large areas of the realm of fire into enormous battlefields where combat is never ending. Tzeentch has taken large areas of the realm of metal and twisted them beyond mortal comprehension to serve whatever whims he's feeling at the time. Nurgle has corrupted large areas of the realm of life, turning its fertile lands into putrid wastelands where a new kind of life is flourishing, just not a particularly pleasant one. And although Slaanesh himself is imprisoned, as we've learnt previously, a lot of his followers are present in the realm of shadow in particular, where they lure unwary mortals to their doom. And down the centre of the page is also a bit about what the various Chaos Gods want of their followers. So Khorne is only interested in fighting and bloodshed and being offered skulls. Tzeentch is interested in change, chaos and plots, so mortals that do these sort of things particularly please him. Nurgle obviously is interested in the spreading of disease, and his strength grows as mortals give in to despair at their situations. And finally Slaanesh wishes everybody to succumb to temptation and give in to their obsessions. And the higher and more noble the soul that falls to temptation, the greater Slaanesh rejoices. So that's it for the contents of this issue. Now I'll hand you over to Mike, where we'll be learning the rules for the Knight-Judicator and some more of the core rules, and then getting into our game.
So we have more of the core rules. This is expanding on the rules for spellcast as we got in the previous issue. It goes over predatory endless spells. So endless spells essentially appear on the battlefield and predatory ones actually move around. And it goes over the procedure for what happens. Essentially, predatory endless spells are either controlled or wild. It goes over the procedure for moving them around and who controls them and so on. I don't think we get any of the collection, so I'll leave it at that. And then we have priests, and they can incant prayers, and this works essentially the same way as spellcasting, except you only use one dice. Each prayer has its own chanting roll you need to meet the answer value, again just using one dice, and there's no attempt, you can't attempt to stop a chant, but if you roll a 1 on the chanting roll, the priest suffers divine wrath and just suffers a mortal wound. So it's just a weaker version of the miscast. Each priest knows Bless and Smite. Probably go over them if we actually get a priest, but you can pause here and see them. And then invocations, which are effectively the priest equivalent of endless spells, where they operate very similarly. You have to roll the chanting roll to invoke them, then they appear on the battlefield somewhere, and then other priests can attempt to banish them. And it does note that priests can actually attempt to dispel endless spells and banish invocations, but wizards can only attempt to dispel endless spells. We probably won't get any invocations or endless spells with the collection, so nice to have the core rules at least. And then we have some more tactics pages. So here we have the Knight Arcanum. So as we know, she is a wizard, and because she's a Stormcast hero, she's fairly durable for a wizard as well, with her 3+ save, much more durable than either of the destruction wizards we've had. But she's not terribly good in melee, as we've seen, so perhaps it's best to keep her at long range. And she's got a pretty decent range with her Blaze of the Heavens. Use her to snipe key enemy heroes like the Loonboss and Zarbag. So he has some very useful abilities that act as a force multiplier. He has his ability to guide units that are arriving by signs of the storm so they can arrive closer. And he gives you a free command ability every turn as well, so lots of free command points. And he's pretty beefy with 7 wounds on a 3+ save, and he's fairly good in melee with his weapon and his Gryph Hound. But he's such an important character that he probably needs protection, so maybe stick the Praetors of him, or keep him near other units so he at least gets lookouts there. And now we have the warscroll for our new Knight-Judicator with Gryph Hounds. So he's got a 6-inch move, 5 wounds, 3+ save, bravery 8, armed with a terminus great bow, which is a 30-inch range, 2 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s, minus 3 rend 3 damage, while his melee weapon is a warblade, which just has a 1-inch range, 3 attacks, they hit and wound on 3s, minus 3 rend 1 damage. Clearly he is not meant to be a melee character, you want to stick him far away and shoot at people. And his faithful Gryph Hounds means that the first time the unit is set up on the battlefield, so either being deployed or from Signs of the Storm, you summon a unit of Gryph Hounds consisting of 2 models to the battlefield and add it to your army, and that Gryph Hounds unit is set up within 3 of the Knight-Judicator and more than 9 from enemy units, so that counts for his 2 friends. So they're not companions, they are actually a separate unit and can act like such. And then his Gaze of Sigmar is a once per battle ability in your shooting phase. You can say he's going to call upon the Gaze of Sigmar rather than attacking with his bow, in which case you pick a point on the battlefield within 30 inches of the Knight-Judicator that he can see, and roll a dice for each enemy unit within 6 inches of that point. On a 4+, that unit suffers 2-3 mortal wounds. Other noteworthy keywords, he's obviously a hero, and he has the Thunderstrike keyword, so he buffs the Knight Arcanum spell. And then there's tutorials for both those abilities, so you remember when you set up the 2 Gryph Hounds, they have to be in cohesion and be within 3 of him and 9 from any enemy models. And then Gaze of Sigmar at the bottom there, hitting the unit of Manskew Bolt Boys and the Loonboss. And now we can get into the backstory for today's game. Heads you lose. So the Stormcast have received vital intelligence from their scouts of a meeting between the leaders of the Destruction War, who are going to be gathering in one place to discuss their plans and schemes. And the Stormcast are going to take this opportunity to try and behead the leadership. So for the Alliance of Order, we have the Knight-Judicator with Gryph Hounds, the Knight Arcanum, the Lord Imperator, the Lord Aquilor, and Guard of Steel Soul. Whereas the Alliance of Destruction, we have the Killer Boss with Stabgrot, the Loon Boss, the Swamp Crawler Shaman and Potgrot, and then Manok Tukunin and Zarbag on their own, not with their respective entourages. So we have our 2 battle mats. We have 2 Order territories, one in the top left and one in the bottom left. And then a Destruction territory in sort of the middle of the right-hand short edge, and then 3 objectives down the centre vertically. And we're deploying as usual, and we set up the primal layer, all 6 pieces, but they must be more than 3 inches away from any objective markers or another scenery piece. And then once all that's done, the Destruction player will secretly choose one of their heroes to be the target and one hero to be the prize, and this plays into our victory conditions. So victory conditions are that the player with the most victory points at the end of the 5th battle round wins, At the beginning of each player's turn, you score a victory point for each objective you control, and then at the end of the game, if the target hero was slain, the order player scores 3 victory points, and if the prize was slain, the destruction player scores 3 victory points. And our special rule for this game, because we have so many heroes gathering in one place, we can make a heroic action with 2 heroes each hero phase rather than just 1. So here we are on our battlefield. You can see the 3 objectives. We've got number 1 at the top, number 3 at the bottom, number 2 in the middle, and the terrain piece is all spread out. And I'll go over my deployment first. Kind of at an angle, but the Loom Boss will be at the bottom of my deployment, Zarbag hanging out and towards the back, and then the 3 Orcs are closer together because of the Shaman can hand out poisons and potions. We've got the Killer Boss and Manok on the front, and then the Shaman just a little bit behind them. And then Stormcast deployment.
Down in the bottom, it's down in my bottom territory, I've got just the Lord Aquila by himself. And up in the top I've got my 3 Thunderstrike characters, including our new Knight-Judicator, who we've named Phelon Surestrike, and his 2 Gryph Hounds, Headwind and Tailwind. And they've been deployed outside my territory because they are set up within 3 of him. They don't have to be in my territory when that happens, because they're summoned. And finally, God of Steel Soul is in the Celestial Realm to arrive by Signs of the Storm.
So while Will's out of the room, I'm going to choose my target and the prize. I'm going to choose the prize to be the Night Cannon, while the target is going to be, I'll make it Manok de Cunnin. So the only other pre-battle thing to mention is that the Killer Boss will be my general, and the Lord Imperatant is the Stormcast general. And I'm just going to check to see if I get a second dirty trick from Manok de Cunnin on a 5+. Oh, I do, so I get both. How many can I choose to be covered in mud? I believe it's on 4+, I get 2. We'll do the Shaman and Manok himself. And now we can roll off. Yes, I finished deploying first because I deployed first. So I will choose to go first, I think. On to Destruction turn 1. So, hero phase. Heroic actions. Killer Boss and Loom Boss both tried heroic leadership, only the Killer Boss got it.
The Lord Aquila did heroic willpower, the Lord Imperatant failed heroic leadership.
And then a potion is going to go on the Killer Boss and cast some Boggy Mist with the Shaman actually. I'll do that first, needing a 6, getting it, no, failing with a 5. Zarbag only gets 1 spell, which will be Mystic Shield, which he successfully casts with a 6.
And Lord Aquila with his heroic willpower is just in range to unbind, which he does.
Very quick turn, all my forces moved up, most of them ran. Manok and the Shaman are going behind that vent, and because they're covered in mud, they're actually hidden from the Judicator from there. The Killer Boss uses 3 command point to order the Loom Boss to auto-run a 6, so it gets him in range of Objective 3. Killer Boss ran to get in range of Objective 2, and Zarbag ran to get behind the Fallen Dragon thingy. Manok has a maximum range of 18, so he won't be in range, and I think that'll be it. So I'll take control of Objectives 2 and 3. We'll be on to Stormcast, turn 1. So, hero phase, it's the Loom Bosses and the Lord Aquila's finest hours, and then the Lord Imperatant and the Killer Boss both got an extra command point with heroic leadership.
And we'll try and cast Blaze of the Heavens, needing a 7, failing with a 5. And then in the movement phase, the Lord Aquila is going straight towards the Loom Boss. In the middle, the 2 Gryph Hounds have moved to in range of Objective 2, and God of Steel Soul has come down at the end of the movement phase from Signs of the Storm, also in range of Objective 2, and up at the top, the 3 heroes have just moved forward. The Lord Imperatant advanced, so we're going to shoot, and I'm going to declare that the Knight-Judicator is going to use his special ability to summon the Light of Sigmar round about here, because that will get all of the 5 destruction heroes within 6 inches blast radius. With the noisy racket and also not being able to see 2 of the heroes at all, I was going to use it now while I'm all bunched up. Taking mortal wounds on 4+. We'll start with Zarbag going from the bottom of the board. It's fine. The Loom Boss is fine. The Killer Boss takes D3 mortal wounds for 1. The Swamp Crawler Shaman takes D3 mortal wounds for 3. And Manok is fine. And then actual shooting, the Lord Aquila will shoot at the Loom Boss, and I'll use all that attack on him.
I'll give the Loom Boss all out defense.
So 4 shots in on 2s, give him 3, and then we're wounding on 3s because the finest hour cancels out the
Noisy Racket.
They all wound. -1.
Yep, so he has, it's his finest hour, and he has a all-out defense, so he'll +1 to his save at the end, so these are 3+ saves. And he failed them all.
Oh.
Good job, he's got 6+ board. Didn't ignore any. Down to 2.
And we've also got Gardas. I think we'll throw some hammers at the Killer Boss. D6 of them, 4. 3s, 3. And 4s, because of the Noisy Racket, just 1.
Must rend, but he's got a potion, so a 3+ save, which he made.
No more shooting, the Lord Imperator ran, the Knight-Judicator did his special ability, so the Lord Aquilor is going to declare a charge. He got a 6, which is enough to get him somewhere. So he finishes there, but I won't declare any more charges, so we've just got him to fight. And in 5 phase I use all-out attack again.
Yeah, and I'll use all-out defense again. I'll use the Killer Boss's command point for that.
And then we've got 5 attacks hitting on 2s. Only getting 3. These are with his weapons, that is. And wounding on 3s, because again, cancelling out Noisy Racket. 1.
This is -1. So we're back to a 3+. Which he failed. It's 2 damage, so he's dead.
And that's it, I'm not within 3 inches of everybody else.
Yeah, so that's the end of the turn and the battle round. Rolling off for battle round 2. I won the roll off, I'll choose to go first again. Destruction turn 2. So my heroic actions is going to be the Killer Boss's finest hour, and then I'm going to do heroic recovery with the Shaman, and he has a bravery of 6, so he fails.
God of Steel Soul, we can do heroic willpower, and then we fail heroic leadership with the Lord Imperator.
Yeah, Zarbag gets an extra spell. We're going to start with the Shaman, who is giving a poison to the Killer Boss. Shaman's going to try and do Summon Body Mist, needing a 6, gets it with an 11.
Try and unbind with somebody, nope.
And then Zarbag will try Jealous Hex, needing a 6. Fails with a 4, and then he will try Arcane Bolt. Gets it with an 8.
Trying to bind with Goddess, I suppose. Yes, no.
I don't get any victory points because I didn't control any objectives. In the movement phase, Zarbag moved out from around the skeleton, and then the very brave Lord Aquilor ran away with redeploy, but only got 2 inches away, so the Killer Boss is still going to be 3 inches away for his charge. That's all my movement. Manop's going to try and shoot with his bird, as unreliable as it usually is.
Oh, yeah, he is shooting.
Got to check the range though, 3d6. Ooh, a whopping 7 inches. I don't think anything's going to be in range. So we're straight to the charge phase. We'll go with the Killer Boss. He is in with a 9. And we'll do Zarbag as well. 5? That might be enough. We'll see if I have to reroll it.
Well, and as the Killer Boss comes in, the Lord Aquilor will unleash Hell. Hitting on 4s, getting 3, and winning on 3s, because it's battle round 2, just 1.
So +1 -1 is a 3+ save. Made it. So Zarbag and the Killer Boss both get into range, and at the start of the fight phase, Zarbag will use his Arcane Bolt, so it'll do D3 damage to the Lord Aquilor, and I'm actually going to do Zarbag to fight first, because the Killer Boss is more likely to survive any counterattack.
Yeah, but I will use all-out defense when Zarbag attacks.
D3 mortal wounds from Arcane Bolt for 1. And then Zarbag himself has 3 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 1. And wounding on 3s. He does, -1 rend.
3+, because of that thing, yeah, fine. And then we fight back, we will attack, I think we'll attack Zarbag actually, because he does not have any save buffs on him at the moment.
Hey, we'll issue all-out defense with the Killer Boss. Or with Zarbag himself, actually.
He hit only 3 times, and wounded twice.
So we got a 6+ save. Oh
dear. Well, his Gryph Charger hits 3 times, and wounds 2 times, -2.
Yes, that's 2 damage. So I'll use my last command point, issue all-out attack with the Killer Boss, so he gets +1. Oh, he and Chariot Killer get +1 to hit. So he gets 4 attacks with the Boss Hacker hitting on 2s. 5 pluses do mortal wounds instead. Bunch some mortal wounds there and 2 hits. Wounding on 2s because finest hour. 2 wounds and -1.
With all-out defense, 3s made saves.
It's 4 damage so far. And then we just have Knee Biter. He has 3 attacks hitting on 3s. 5 pluses deal mortal wounds. He just gets 1 mortal wound. It's 5 damage in total. And that is it for the turn. On to Stormcast, turn 2. So heroic actions. Tried heroic recovery again with the Shaman and failed. Got a command point with heroic leadership on the Killer Boss.
It's God of Steel Soul's finest hour, and I failed heroic leadership with Knight-Judicator, and then we'll cast Blaze of the Heavens, again needing a 7. Get it with an 11 this time.
Might as well try and bind. Not with a 7.
Great for Zarbag, he is in range, thanks to the Sun Strike unity by 3.
Yeah, goodbye Zarbag.
The Lord of Aquilor has retreated from the Killer Boss, while Gardas has moved up to engage him. The 2 Gryph Hounds just shuffled a bit, staying on objective 2. And the Lord of Aquilor is still in range of objective 3, incidentally. I gained 2 victory points while holding objectives 1 and 2 at the start of my turn. And the top 3 heroes have just advanced a little bit, getting the Knight-Judicator within 12 inches, so you can see the people who are covered in blood. Knight-Judicator is going to shoot at Manok.
Yeah, and Manok's going to issue all-out defense to himself. He is in cover, so he'll get some of a save at least.
And then we've got, 2 shots hitting on 3s. Only 1 hit, and wounds on 2. It did, it's -3.
Yep, so +1 from All out defense +1 from cover is a 5+ save. Oh, we made it.
Goddess Steel Soul's in range of the Shaman, so he will do D6 shots at him, 2, which hit on 3s, they do, and they wound on 2s, because it's his finest hour. Oh, double. And the Lord Imperator will have a go at the same target, 4 times, hitting once, and failing to wound. So we're on to the charge phase, where we'll declare charge with Goddess, and at the start of the phase he's also going to use his Saintly Assault.
So you can re-roll the charge, because he has got -1 from Boggy Mist.
He didn't need it. So he gets in like that, I won't be declaring any more charges, and I will use all-out attack with Goddess.
And the Killer Boss will use all-out defense with his 3 command point.
6 attacks because of Saintly Assault, hitting on 2s. 1 miss. And wounding on 2s because of finest hour. Only 3.
-1, so all-out defense cancels out. 3+ saves. Made 2, take 2 damage. And 3. Killer Boss's hitbacks. 4 attacks on 3s now. 5s do mortal wounds instead. We got 1 hit and 2 mortal wounds. Wounds on a 3, it does not. It's 2 damage.
Which is a 5+ ward, takes both.
And Knee Biter gets 3 mortal wounds.
No. Of which I ignored 2.
Boom.
So 3 damage. And then at the end of the turn, Goddess is in range of both objectives 2 and 3. I'll choose for him to count within objective 3, so that I've got 2 models on both objectives 2 and 3. I'll control both of them.
We're rolling off for battle round 3.
1-1. I will go first, I guess.
So Stormcast turn 3. Heroic actions, the Nighthawk Cannon and the Killer Boss both failed heroic leadership, but we got heroic recovery of both the Lord of Quillor and the Shaman, and both regained 2 wounds. So Lord of Quillor's up to 4, Shaman's up to 5.
Try and cast Blazes to Heavens again. So it's failed. Not much movement. The Lord of Quillor has moved to get his bow in range of the Shaman, and the heroes in objective 1 have just shuffled around a bit. They're not going to charge right now, so we'll be on to the shooting phase, where we'll start with the Knight-Judicator shooting at the Shaman.
The Shaman's going to issue all-out defense to himself, so he gets at least a 6+ save.
Yep, but I'll actually issue all-out attack with the Lord Imperatance free command point this turn. So hitting on 2s, which helps, that's important, and wounding on 3s. No 2s again, sorry. Yes, both of them. They've got 3s in.
Yeah. 6+ saves. We made 1. Only 3 damage. Down to 2.
Lord of Quillor will have a go. He hits 3 times. And he wounds twice. That's 1.
5+ armour. Made 1. Down to 1.
Lord Imperator will try and finish him off. He gets 2 shots. 1 of which hit. And a wound.
Cover from that angle. So 4+ save. Yeah, that takes him down. Goodbye, Shaman.
Finally, Goddess shooting in melee, 2 shots as well. Both missed. There will be no charging, just going to use Goddess to attack the Killer Boss, and I shall issue all-out attack.
And he'll issue all-out defense to himself.
Down to 5 attacks now, hitting on 2s. Still got a miss. And 3s. 2.
-1 is ignored, so 3+ saves. Made 1. Killer Boss still has a poison, so 4 attacks on 3s, 5+ do mortal wounds. There's 2 hits and 2 mortal wounds. The hits wound on 3s. Getting 1, -1.
And failed save, so 4 damage.
So far,
which I will ignore. I ignore 3 of, so he's down to 2.
Can Knee Biter repeat what he did last time? He gets a mortal wound and a hit. Sorry, just 1 hit. No, yeah.
Yeah,
just
but it does go through, he's down to 1.
Yeah. So, hero phase. It's going to be Manok's finest hour. Failed heroic leadership with the Killer Boss, as did one of the Stormcast heroes who aren't sure. But the Lord of Quillor heroically recovered again and got another wound back up to 5. In the movement phase, Manok's going to move out. Killer Boss will stay where he is for now. And in the shooting phase, Manok will try and shoot with his bird, see if he'll catch again range or something.
The Knight-Judicator also actually redeployed 1 inch.
Yep, using the Lord Imperatance free command point. 3 to 6 inch range for Manok's bird. Got 8 inches. That's the range of Goddess, that's the one I actually wanted to shoot. So it has 3 attacks, hitting on 4s I believe, but 5+s deal mortal wounds instead. We got a mortal wound.
Well, he needs to ignore it. He does not.
And that kills him. He can't come back because it's not the fight phase. Wow, and that's the shooting phase. In charge phase, the only charge is going to be Manok. And he gets 4. I'm going to re-roll that. 5.
That is it. So Manok did make his charge, but I'm going to unleash hell with the Knight-Judicator because he moved that way. So 2 shots on 4s. Oh, they both missed anyway.
Manok's going to attack the Nighthawk Cannon because he's got 3 inch weapon range.
She will use all-out defense.
I'm going to save the command point for all-out defense. So 4 attacks from Manok hitting on 3s. 5+s deal mortal wounds instead. Oh, we didn't get any mortal wounds. That's not what I wanted. So 2 hits wounding on 3s. There we got a wound.
Saved.
So Stormcast hitbacks. Manok's going to use all-out defense on himself.
Yeah, Lord Imperatance piling in and attacking first. He gets 3 hits. And And only one wound.
So, +1/+1 means a 3+ save for Manok, which he made.
And Dauntless the Gryph Hound hits 4 times. Only wounds on 4s though, just 1.
Yep, I only get a maximum of +1, so it's still a 3+ save. Made it.
And finally the Knight-Judicator can get in range, and he has 3 attacks that hit on 3s, well they all hit. And also wound on 3s, 2, and -1.
Yep, so 3s again.
Yep,
Did 1 damage.
Knight Cannon as well, hits 3 times. Wounds twice.
Ooh, 3+. Made them both. But that's the end of the battle round. Rolling off for battle round 4. I won the roll off. Yeah, clearly we're gonna win this. Destruction turn 4. So, heroic actions, tried heroic recovery with the killer boss and failed. Lord Aquilor recovered again, gained 2 command points. Knight-Judicator failed to get a command point, and Manok succeeded in getting a command point with heroic leadership. Then we're on to the shooting phase. Manok's going to fight all those heroes at once, and he's going to try and peck the Knight Cannon. She'll definitely be in range. So the bird has 3 attacks on 4s, 5+ is still more wounds. Well, we got 2 hits at the very least. Wounds on 5s? No. Straight to the 5 phase where Manok will attack.
Use all out defense, use the free ones from Lord of Imperator.
Yep, 4 attacks on 3s, 5s do mortal wounds. That's 2d3 mortal wounds plus a hit. That wounds on a 3. Ooh, it does, just about.
So the save, failed.
So this is going to be 3d3 damage. Whoa. Oof. 8 damage.
That's enough to kill her.
Knight Cannon down for all it's worth, and then the Stormcast hit back. Manok will do all out defense.
So Lord Imperator first.
If you do with the 3 command points.
Lord Imperator hit 4 times, didn't wound at all. What about Dauntless? Hit twice, and didn't wound. And the Knight-Judicator hit 3 times, and wounded 3 times, he's mad.
-1, so 4+ saves. Made 2. Now it's down to 4. So we've got heroic actions, finally recover with the killer boss back up to 4. Got a command point with heroic leadership on the Lord Aquilor and Manok, and it's the Lord Imperator's finest hour.
My wizard is dead, so no spells, no movement, so straight to shooting with the Knight-Judicator. We'll use the free command point from Lord Imperator to use all-out attack. So hitting on 2s. Anyone.
Well, and Manok will use all-out defense with his free command point, but yeah, he got 1 hit.
Wounds on... that did wound.
So Manok has +1 defense, he has a 6+ save. No, 53 damage.
Lord Imperator gets 5 shots in melee, which only hit twice. But we're winning on 2s because of 5 hour, yes?
+1/-1. 4+. No. Manok goes down.
And Lord Aquilor has some shots on the killer boss. They hit 3 times, and don't wound at all. Well, it says Lord Imperator's finest hour, he's got nobody to fight, so he's going to declare a massive charge on the killer boss. He'll need about an 11. No, not a 4. I won't re-roll that. I know, actually, the command points are going away, and I've got 3, so I'll re-roll it into a 2. Right, better. And then the Lord Aquilor is in. He'll use a command point, he might as well be his free one to give himself all-out attack.
Yeah, we'll do all-out defense on the killer boss.
So 5 attacks from his weapons that hit 4 times, because 2s, and 3s. 3.
-1/+1, so 3+ saves. Get it in the box. He takes 2 damage so far.
Gryph Charger, they all hit, and they will wound. That's 2.
These are 4+ saves. Okay, we're down to 1 again. Killer boss's hitbacks. 4 attacks on 3s, 6s do mortal wounds instead. We got 3 hits. Wounding on 3s, getting 2.
Take 2 wounds.
Knee Biter gets a mortal wound. Yeah, that's the end of battle round 4. Somehow he got knocked, or maybe I didn't put it up. But anyway, I think I'm going to concede at this point because I have a killer boss left on 1 wound, and I haven't gained any. Well, technically I have gained 3 victory points because I killed my prize. But Manok was the target, so that cancels out. So this is definitely going to be a Stormcast victory, and we'll keep that game for you now. Well, that was the game for issue 33 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine. How do you think that went?
Pretty much as I expected it to go. We have 5 heroes each. Mine cost more than yours do on average, and I had 2 free Gryph Hounds to stand on objectives.
Unfortunately, I have 2 very flimsy wizards as well. I was probably quite lucky to get covered in mud and put it on. Maybe I should have put it on Zarbag as well. So you wouldn't be tempted to snipe him. Yeah. I'm not at all surprised by the outcome of the game. I think some poor rolling on your part prolonged it, and me getting covered in mud so you can just snipe the shaman straight away.
Although, having said that, the loon boss didn't pass a single armor save and just died instantly, so that's probably cancelled out the was mostly my shooting just consistently didn't wound, and the Knight-Judicator we'll get onto in a minute, but it didn't actually do all that much damage this game. But anyway,
yeah, perhaps I picked a poor target, but again, it's just that was just to say I got it. Well, and I did kill Gardas at the optimum time as well, so that was pretty fairly lucky.
Yeah, Gardas was actually not that effective, but...
And the Knight Cannon didn't do very much either. Mostly failed to cast spells.
But I suppose the Gardas kept the killer boss pinned down while I was doing other things, like healing up the Lord Aquilor.
Not sure if it's a particularly good showcase of the Knight-Judicator. Might as well move on to him. I mean, the extra Gryph Hounds were actually super useful in this game, because they can just put extra bodies on the objectives. In the grand scheme of things, they're mostly just going to get in the way of him, because he's very bad in melee. He's relying on his bow, rather, to do damage in melee.
On paper, his shots can do an awful lot of damage, but 2 shots hitting on 3s, there's a decent chance you're actually going to miss one. With if enemy heroes have Lookout Sir, you're actually hitting on 4s, which starts to become not actually that reliable within 2 shots.
That's as good as a goblin shooter.
Yeah, he's actually, I think, slightly worse at character sniping than the Stormbringer from the Truth Seekers. But having said that, he can do quite a lot of damage to a regiment. If you hit both shots, you're doing 6 damage going through, because nothing has a -3 rend is effective against just about anything destruction you've got. So.
And he's got a huge range as well.
Yeah, I mean, when we see him in future battles, he's basically going to sit at the back and snipe things. His special ability is handy. I suppose I was fortunate you had to deploy in a relatively small area in this game. It may or may not actually all just be better to shoot with him. It depends if there's a good block of targets to use it on.
Yeah, the fact that it takes up his shooting makes it not necessarily something you want to use all the time or in every game. And he does combo well with Vigilors, give him the extra +1 to hit. I guess he combos well with Gryph Hounds, although it's mostly still to protect him. And I think in the grand scheme of things, his 2 friends are just a speed bump to stop people getting to him.
It is possible, I think, he could use his Gaze of Sigmar if he runs, because he doesn't have to, because he's not going to be shooting anyway, and it's instead of shooting. But it does say that instead of attacking with its missile weapons, so it's not clear whether you could do that if you wouldn't be eligible to attack with missile weapons.
And to be honest, with his massive range, I'm not sure there are many cases where he actually would run, unless you're trying to run him away from things that are coming towards him, I guess. And
then the 2 Gryph Hounds, they're not going to make a massive impact on a large game, but what they would be handy for is staying near him to keep things away, particularly reinforcements turning up, and give him the free shooting. Not going to be super useful in this collection because we don't have that many units that appear. Loon Smasher Fanatics will be the obvious exception.
And you do get them for free. Yeah, and he is a cool model, and I do like the 2 Gryph Hound models. Are actually they look better than the other kit. So, and you could always just interchange them if you weren't bringing the Knight-Judicator.
I like his design. I do not like his pose. I think he's doing a stupid, overly dramatic pose that would actually make it really hard to shoot a bow from. And I don't like his base size either. I have no idea why he has to bring a massive rock and a really big oval base with him.
I think that perhaps that's to make him feel more like an artillery piece.
Yeah, possibly. It does almost say that in his lore anyway.
Rather than a man.
Yeah, but you could easily fit him on a 40mm round base. It doesn't need to have he's got the same size base as the Lord Aquilor. It's just not necessary.
Yeah, and we did get some more of the core rules, which are useful to know, but endless spells. Most factions get endless spells. Some of them also get invocations, so they might show up in games, but I think they're not usually... I don't know how meta they are in the grand scheme of things, and really depends what faction you're going to go up against, whether they're any good. And we probably won't get any with the collection. Unless maybe there's a special rule in a scenario or something that has one wandering around. If you are using these collections and using them in other games other than the ones in the magazine, then you may well need those rules. And they are there, so it's handy to have them. It is, after all, giving us the complete core rules of the game, which is good. Most factions will have some sort of priest available, except maybe the death factions, and some of the chaos factions as well actually are a bit short on priests. But they operate very similarly to wizards. It's not too dissimilar. Once again, very good value for money. You're getting a character plus his 2 friends. And they're usually about £25, £27.50 maybe. So good value for money on him for getting him for £9. But otherwise, that's all we have to say. If you like this content, do leave a like and subscribe. And if you enjoy this content and so on, leave any comments if you use the Knight-Judicator or you've been playing along. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.